Affinity Missionary Baptist Church held its first worship service on Christmas Day, Sunday, December 25th, 1966, at the home of Willie and Barbara Youngblood on East 178th Street in Cleveland, Ohio.
We had our first meeting at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Willie Youngblood. At that time, we had a Magnus chord organ which belonged to Janice Garnett, and I was the first musician, and I played that organ for the small choir that we had.
I know we were in that small house, and it was like one room. Then we had to knock some walls out to make it a little larger for the congregation. And after that, shortly after that, rather, we built the other church.
Janet Garnett
named the church.
Named the church, and she's still living. She lives in Chicago. She was responsible for that name. And at the time, none of us knew what it meant.
No,
we know now.
No.
They called James E. McJunkin Sr. as their pastor, desiring to share the unity of spirit and the bond of peace spoken in God's Word. Affinity's second worship service was held New Year's Day, January 1st, 1967, at the Broadway YMCA, East 113th Street and Miles Avenue in Cleveland. The following Sunday, January 8th, 1967, services were moved to the Southeast YMCA on Northfield Road in Bedford Heights, where the congregation continued to worship through its first 2 years of existence. In January 1969, the congregation began holding worship services in its first building, a newly renovated house at 4411 East 175th Street, our current location.
When we were in the small house, and we decided to build the first sanctuary, and it was completed, and we moved in 1974. And the first Sunday that we moved in, we had a packed house. We didn't even have pews. We had chairs. And the church began to grow by leaps and bounds after 1974.
May I add to that? Mm-hmm. When it came to the pews, we had chairs at one time. Mm-hmm. So some of the members would buy a pew.
Right.
That's how we were able to get the pews.
Right. Yeah, because I bought one.
Yes.
And we had the name plates.
Yes.
On the end of the pews, you know, and nobody better not sit in your pew on Sunday.
Those particular committees. I was working with the finance team and also the program. So I felt good because we were at a point after we started growing. We took the information to the church, and the church got on board. We asked the church if they would contribute $1,000 to $5,000 if they could, payable over a 3-year period of time. And the congregation got on board. So once they got on board, we could hire our architect. We hired architect, and we hired 2 program managers. They developed the blueprints, and the church got on fire. The funds started coming in, and like I said, we were able to start the process of building then.
Ceremonies for our present sanctuary were held Easter Sunday, 1996, and construction of the new building began in October of that year.
Today brought a special Easter celebration for an area church when ground was broken for a new addition there. Immediately following the services, the congregation of the Affinity Baptist Church went outside for the ceremony. This is the second phase of a project that has been in the works at the Eastside Church for 3 years now. They chose today to break ground because of the holiday.
This is a time when all of us are kind of upbeat for the cause of Christ, the risen Lord. And we thought, well, while we are in the midst of doing that celebration, let's do the whole thing.
And they did it today. The $1.5 million addition will bring 200 new seats to the church. It will also bring a music room, library, and a conference room.
On Sunday, May 4th, 1997, while the new building was still under construction, Pastor James McJunkins Sr. was called from labor to reward. Pastor McJunkins' homegoing services were held in the partially completed edifice without interior walls or windows.
Senior had started his dream, but the Lord called him to come home, and he was unable to see the finished product of this church. So we are blessed today that we have seen a lot over the 55 years, and we give God all the honor, all the glory, and all the praise.
On April 18, 1999, the church body installed Ronald E. Maxwell to serve as its second pastor. Together, by God's grace and the faithfulness of God's people, we eliminated the first 2 mortgages without fanfare. On Sunday, October 2nd of this year, we launched our Jubilee anniversary celebration by burning the 3rd and final mortgage on our building. Through God's continued grace and the continued faithfulness of our congregation and friends, Affinity will continue to build, bless, and change lives. New property development project proposals, lighting, signage, and other improvements are coming soon.